Chapter 13, No Excuses. Carl heard Harry Harwell's shouting voice, but he wasn't listening. He wasn't listening to anyone else, not Coach Powers, not Elf, just himself for once. Two objects were zipping his way. One was a ball. The other was a werewolf, barreling toward Carl like a freight train. The werewolf bellowed, "I'm coming home, Poodle, out of my way!" Carl opened his mouth. He kept his eyes locked on the ball. It flew the last few inches. Carl did what he had always fought against. He chased the ball. He leaped into the air and caught the ball between his teeth. With a spin, he reached out and tagged the werewolf runner. "You're out!" the ump called. The air was electric, like the moment just before lightning struck. Then Harry Harwell shouted over and over, "The Scream Team wins the game! The Scream Team wins the game!" Almost without thinking, Carl turned to look for his dad in the stands. But before he could spot him, he was mobbed by his 8 teammates. They hoisted him into the air and bounced him up and down. "You did it, Carl!" JD shouted. "Number 0 is a hero! Number 0 is a hero!" On his perch of victory, Carl enjoyed the view. He turned his face up and drank in the moonlight. So this is what it felt like to win. Coach's conundrum pushed their way through the Scream Team. Virgil gave him a thumbs up and said, "I told you no one had seen what you could do." All right, already, Wyatt said. "Let's not give him a big head." But when Carl looked down from his shoulders of his friends, Wyatt was actually smiling. Or at least trying to. "Coach is right," Carl said. "Give somebody else a chance up here." Eric was next. They bounced him around like a shimmering beach ball. He was quivering with joy. They broke off the celebration to shake limbs with the werewolves. And when Carl got to Elf, he slapped his paw and said, "Good game." But the big werewolf had nothing to say. He just rolled his eyes and kept on moving. At the end of the line, Coach Powers waited for Carl. He pulled him over to the side. "That was an okay game, Carl," he said. Carl smiled. "Thanks, Coach." Coach Powers held up a paw. "Don't get carried away. Your win was a fluke, and you know it." He gave Carl a long look and said, "Still, I have an offer to make for you." Here we go. Just admit that this whole multi-monster Scream Team idea was silly, Coach Powers told him, "and we'll get you a real uniform with a real team, and you can be a werewolf." That's what he ever always wanted. Carl's ears perked up, not only because of what Coach Powers had said, but because he could hear Patsy talking with the zombie coach. And over there, JD was meeting with the coach of the ghosts. He knew those coaches were inviting them to their teams. This is what we all wanted. But maybe not anymore. At least not for Carl. "Coach," Carl said, "I know how you feel about excuses, so I won't make any for the Scream Team. In fact, I couldn't if I tried. I'm too proud of them." Coach Powers stared at Carl as if he couldn't believe his ears. "Carl, don't make a big mistake. You had a lucky game tonight." "I had a fun game tonight," Carl said. "Thanks for the offer, but I'm going to stick with my friends." As Carl turned away from Coach Powers, he spotted his dad up in the stands. He was sitting by himself, and he had the proudest wolf's grin on his face. Carl would meet up with him in the parking lot. In the meantime, he headed back to the Scream Team celebration. His teammates were laughing and slapping each other's backs. Carl asked Patsy what happened with the zombie coach. He invited me to join them," she said seriously. "What'd you say?" Carl asked. She smiled. "That I wasn't interested. Maybe I'm losing my head again, but I want to stay with you guys." Drifting over to them, JD chimed in. "I just told the ghosts there's no way I'm leaving the Scream Team." "That's monstrous," Carl howled. "I think we've got a winning season ahead of us." After the team dumped the traditional bucket of boiling slime on the coach's conundrum, Virgil shouted, "You guys are wicked!" Just like always, Wyatt scuffed at his brother. "You're dead wrong." Carl and the rest of the team groaned. The Conundrums couldn't fight about this, too. Could they? Scream Team isn't just wicked. It's the most wicked. Scream Team, Carl the Werewolf, number 0. Meant to be a 9, but you forgot the tail, still have a 0. Position, catcher, but I wanted to be a pitcher. Throws right, bats, likes them. Dennis the vampire is cool. Hobby, collecting grass clippings from baseball games. Oh, and hot dog skin. Favorite food, Grandma's spicy roadkill with extra crispy whiskers. Baseball hero, Wolfenstein the Monster League Werewolves, and Home Run Globe Series champ. Favorite saying, Wolf's Bang. Only when things go bad. Place to improve, chasing my own tail, or anything that speaks. Talent, really sinks his teeth into the game. He sunk his teeth into the ball, so they could go. Nickname, Poodle, scratch that. Maybe Wolfenstein the second. And that, my friends, is the end of the Scream Team. If you are still hungry, sink your teeth into another Scream Team book, The Vampire at Half Court. Sounds like a basketball book with monsters. Hope you enjoyed it. It was a great fun book. See you next time.